So the big question I would have to say when it comes to Hot Toys figures, to root them or not to root them, that could be the biggest question. Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another video, and today I want to talk about rooted hair. And in terms of what I mean by that is the custom side of it, not like anything you get from like Hot Toys, but like sending figures out to get them rooted. And is that something that I'm interested in doing? The answer is yes. And I want to talk about the 5 figures in my personal collection that I would send off to get rooted. It really stems from this: the Hot Toys WB100 Wonder Woman. Now, for those who haven't seen, I did a review on this about a week and a half ago. I'll put the link in the video above. I don't think that Hot Toys is done with this. I think they're going to move on. I think there's a reason why this one wasn't considered an artisan figure, artisan series, only because as great as it is, I think there is still another leap forward that they can make, and that is potentially going to be the artisan series, which I'm so super excited for that. But this is just giving you a little screenshot of the figure itself. And the review, like I said, I'll post that link above if you guys want to check that out. But it really got me thinking about figures in my collection, and it did definitely. And I was never against rooted. I want to be very clear. I was never against rooted figures. I don't mind the maintenance. I don't mind maintaining. If they need touch-ups every once in a while, I'm not afraid of any of that stuff. I know a lot of collectors are like, I don't want to deal with the maintenance, things like that. To me, that's all part of the collecting journey. Is getting hands-on with the figures and having, and rearranging displays, doing stuff, things like that. So I was never concerned about any of that stuff at all. That being said, it really kind of stepped it up for me where I thought about, wow, if I went down the path of getting a couple other figures custom rooted, what would they be? And now I'm not saying rooted is always the way to go 100%. It's just not, it's going to be up there cost wise, money wise. And to be fair, my whole opinion about getting stuff rooted, it's more a passion towards the character. I don't expect there to be, automatic resale value for what I put into it. I understand the cost of rooting can be anywhere between $150 up to $300 potentially to get a figure rooted, to get it really professionally done. That being said, you're not going to get your rate of return on money because it's going to be a specialty thing. Not everyone wants rooted hair figures, but nevertheless, I thought I'd have fun and make a video where I would talk about 5 figures in my collection currently that if I was to send them off to get rooted, what would they be? And out of those 5, I can confirm one of them will be rooted. And then one or two of the other ones are on the verge of a possibility of me realistically getting them rooted. But one of the 5, I am actually in November. I already have it booked to get the figure rooted. We'll talk about that. And then of the other 4, 1 or 2 of them, like I said, might be on the horizon as well as a realistic possibility. So the first figure, ironically, is the one that I am sending off to get rooted. This is the Harley Quinn from the first Suicide Squad movie. Now, so for me, this figure was a personal grail. One that I wanted in the collection for quite some time. I'm a huge Margot Robbie fan. I actually enjoyed the first Suicide Squad movie, and I think her interpretation of Harley Quinn is just, it's her role. It's her. And I think that of the other iteration of this character, the versions, this is the most iconic one. They call it, the booty short version, with the hair the way it is. This is the version that I think of when I think of Harley Quinn. So shout out to William Wong, and I'll put his information in the video. He's the one who actually secured this figure. He's actually the one I got the Wonder Woman from, but I hit him up and I have a version. At the time of making this video, I should have this delivered within the next 2 days. From the time of filming this video. This video will probably go up at a later date, but at that time I'll have the figure in my collection. So I got this figure, can't wait to pose it up. And I started browsing online. I got the idea of, well, this would be a really interesting one to see rooted in terms of the hair, the color, the pigtails. There's a lot going on with the figure itself, to see, like what, in terms of if it being rooted. So that being said, this is one that I've contacted a person. I will leave their description in the video, and I want to show you what this looks like actually rooted. So this is the artist up here. I don't want to mispronounce anyone's names or butcher names, but you can see the artist's name right here. Very famous person in the community when it comes to rooted hair. You see this is the page I'll be using for a lot of the references. But this is the Harley Quinn, as you can see here on the left hand side, and then the prisoner version. And you could just see the huge difference in the rooted hair on this. It's just, it looks absolutely phenomenal. The dye work, the way it is with the ponytails, the bangs hanging down in front, it just brings the whole character to life. I love the expression, the open mouth expression on this one. It's very vibrant, very just like in your face. On the right side is the prisoner version, which has a much more subdued, smiling expression. But I really enjoy this. So this is the first one that really got me into the whole rooting, where I was like, wow, this is just unbelievable. So I contacted this person, and I'm going to be shipping out the head sculpt in November to have done. So this is the first one that I say that I would have rooted, and I am having rooted, which is, like I said, just absolutely phenomenal. So Harley Quinn is the first one. And I want to jump into the second figure that I would have rooted if given the opportunity. And this is a figure that is in my personal collection. And I will show you guys what that looks like right now. So the next figure that's in my collection that I would get rooted is the Hot Toys Qui-Gon Jinn from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I love Liam Neeson's interpretation of this character. I mean, he owns it. I love Liam Neeson as an actor. And when I saw this, I got this when it first came out. It was one of my earlier Hot Toys. I got this at the time of launch. I think it's a great character. I love the head sculpt. I think it looks great. I don't have any complaints about the figure. It's actually, it's in my collection as we speak. I have a custom robed cloak for him. The only issue with this figure, which is a known issue, but throughout the community, is the hair itself. Now, the hair is, as I said, it's sculpted and it is very intricate in the sense of you have hair hanging down in the front, and he has a lot of hair hanging, long hanging in the back. And it really limits the overall articulation of the head sculpt. There's next to no articulation with this. He's pretty much fixed. As you can see here, the hair hanging down on the left and the left and right side of the character, and hanging down the back side. It just limits. You can't do anything with it. So he's pretty static in terms of his head sculpt posing. And the hair is just because it's solid. You can even see here, it doesn't really look really well when you do turn the head sculpt. The hair just kind of like is floating in midair, and it doesn't really look well. It doesn't really present itself nicely. Like I said, you can see there's air gaps underneath because it's fixed, it's sculpted. It really gives you a lot of limitation to this. Plus, you have the beard as well. So this is this is the second figure, as I mentioned, that it's in my collection that I'm strongly considering having rooted. Now, once again, it's Qui-Gon Jinn. Is it an expensive character? No. Its resale value is pretty much equal, maybe a little more than what it was. I see it go from anywhere between 250 to 350. I understand adding, a rooted hair option to, it's not necessarily going to get me my money back if I ever sold it, but that's not the intent. I'm looking at figures that have that I want to keep in the collection, and they're figures that mean something to me, and I think that deserve the upgrade, so to speak. So this is what he looks like stock with the sculpted hair. Now let me show you that same artist and what they did with their interpretation. Here is Qui-Gon Jinn, fully rooted, the hair and the beard done. And I gotta say, it's unbelievable. I think that it even elevates the head sculpt itself. I know there's been questions where people actually talk about the head sculpt and whether or not it captures the likeness to Liam Neeson. I think that the rooted hair really just elevates it even more because it's more accurate with the grays, the browns, the color tone of it is more accurate. You can see here, this was the beard itself before the hair was done, and you just see the speckling. This is just unbelievable. I know with beards, there's been criticism that not all the times the beards look right. They look like carpet, they just don't look right, the consistency. However, this just looks absolutely unbelievable. I think it's one of the best rooted jobs that I've seen. And like I said, this is in contention for a figure after I get the Harley Quinn that I very well may consider having the Qui-Gon done, because I think it just elevates the figure. And like I said, I have this with a wired robe from Unreal Customs that I got around the time of the figure. Plus, I have an LED lightsaber, so I really do think this is just going to make the overall completed picture of the figure. Once again, I'm not doing this for any type of resale value. I understand dumping this money into a figure, and that's the thing about Rooted is that it's really making me open up the possibilities of not every. I'm not going to do every figure that has a premium value to it. They're going to be figures that are worth their weight just in retail, But the idea is that you're seeing the quality of what it can elevate just any type of figure. And I think this is just an unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable work that's done. And so this is the second one that I would do, which is Qui-Gon, and one that I'm very much considering having rooted. So now we're going to jump into the third figure that I would have rooted in my collection. So the next figure suffers from the same fate as Qui-Gon, and that would be Aquaman, more specifically Aquaman from the Solo movie. I prefer this version over the Justice League version because I love the vibrant colors. This is the Aquaman that's represented in my Justice League, my custom Justice League that I'm making with certain figures. And so I have this one as well. I got it around the same time that it came out, and I think I think it's a great figure. I think the presence on it is great. It's a big, bulkier figure than the Justice League version. I love the vibrancy in the color of the suit. I love everything about this. The photos of the head sculpt, I don't think do it justice. I think it looks better in person than what the photos show. But once again, this is another figure that suffers from the same fate as Qui-Gon with the pretty much next to no articulation in the head sculpt due to the restriction of the hair. The hair just looks very basic to me. I mean, nothing much going on there. Rooted hair, it's a sculpted hair, but as you can see, it's going to limit the articulation of the figure. Really can't really pose it as much up, and plus you have the beard there. So that being said, this is what the figure looks like. Look, there it is. I'll get you a better photo here. This is what he looks like as is stock from Hot Toys. And now let's take a look at what he would look like rooted. So now this is Aquaman rooted. Once again, this is commission work that was done. And so this is just an unbelievable version, I think, as well. The beard, like I said, you look at Qui-Gon's beard, I can see the differences in the beard a little bit. I think Qui-Gon's beard, the quality in the beard is much better. But you could see here the hair. I mean, Jason Momoa's hair is more realistic here with the browns going into the blondes. It has just an unbelievable look to it, and it's crazy. And I think it's just a night and day difference compared to the Hot Toys version. It'll give you complete articulation in the head sculpt, and like I said, the overall look just makes it it's just a breathtaking difference compared to the stock version. So this is, and I'm a huge Jason Momoa fan. Aquaman wasn't the best movie, but I love him in the character of Aquaman. I think that's such a great role for him. It was. I know he's not doing it anymore after the second movie. This is a figure that I would very much consider having rooted. However, I do want to hold out until to see what Hot Toys does with Aquaman 2. I know that movie's coming out sometime in December, I believe, unless it was pushed back again. And so I want to wait and see what we get from Aquaman 2. If they give us any type of figures, I know he's donning like a black suit there. So I want to see what kind of figures we get from that first and see if the head sculpt and the paint applications are more updated. And if that's the case, then I might even get the head sculpt from that one and have that rooted and swap around and have some flexibility in that. But nevertheless, the next figure I have, would be Aquaman, would be the next one that I'd be interested in having rooted. So that being said, I'll jump into the fourth figure in my collection that I would have rooted. So the next figure that I would have rooted is the Tony Stark mech test version from the first Iron Man film. Iron Man is is up there in terms of being my all-time favorite Marvel movie. It's definitely still one of the best movies. I think it still holds up even today compared to everything that we have. Robert Downey Jr. owns the role. I mean, there's nothing I can say that hasn't been said before in terms of what he's done with this character. That being said, Tony Stark's style has evolved over time between his hair, his beard. His hair was longer, then it kind of got it was shorter. Even the shape of his beard, it was this style, and then it turned into more of like a beard strap kind of style towards the end. Wasn't as thick, so the style kind of changed as it went. And so I always liked the version of Tony Stark between Iron Man and Iron Man 2. I always liked those kind of versions of him. And so this is a version I liked with his hair long, kind of flapping, hanging down in front with the beard. And so this is how you see him here with the sculpt. And now what I want to show you is what he would look like rooted with the hair and the beard itself. And this is the version of Iron Man from Iron Man 1. And once again, this is the hair kind of flapped over, a little more realistic, not like compared to the sculpted, and also the beard itself. I think this is just absolutely, I think the sculpt itself looks really great. And obviously, it starts with the head sculpt. If you have a head sculpt and you have a great foundation there, the hair should just elevate that. If the sculpt isn't so great, the hair may or may not save it. So in this case, all the sculpts, in my opinion at least, I think all the sculpts are fantastic, and they're a great foundation to work on top of that. And this is another one. I think that the mech test head sculpt is really awesome, captures the likeness 100%. I have no complaints about it whatsoever. And then just here doing the hair just adds more to that. You see there with the hair, the beard, but like the style of it just looks so realistic, and it's an iconic character that it stands the test of time personally. So for me, this would be the fourth figure that I do own in my collection that I would have rooted if given the opportunity. So I will move on now to the fifth and final figure that I would have rooted. Obviously, there's so many more, but these are figures that mean just something to me, and I think they just look fantastic in the collection. So that being said, we'll move on to the fifth and final figure that I would have rooted. And the fifth and final figure that I would have rooted in my collection is a little bit of a different one. It would be Thor from Infinity War. Now, for me, this is the one and only Thor I have in my collection. I've had opportunities to get other versions, but I've passed on them because to me, this is my Thor. This is my definitive Thor. I like the short-haired look. I have him displayed without the eye patch. I'm trying to find a photo here with it. I have him without the eye patch on, and I also have him with the long sleeves as well. So I have him displayed basically like this, except without the eye patch. And I think that it's just I just love the look overall. I passed on Fat Thor, other versions. The only version I'm tempted to maybe get is the version from Love and Thunder, only because I kind of want a long-haired version of Thor in my collection. And I like the more comic color style of the outfit itself, the costume he wore. As of now, I don't own it. I do not have it on pre-order, but it's something that I'm considering. This figure also I have with a custom Unreal Customs wired cape as well. But like I said, it has short hair, the beard, not all rooted, has to be long flowing hair, things like that. It could just be elevating someone with shorter hair, like compared to, the other figures. So like I said, this is what he looks like stock, with the short hair, the beard. Now I want to show you guys what he would look like potentially rooted. And here is that version of Thor with the rooted hair and the beard. Now there's a lot of details going on here, which is really amazing. And one being the hair. I love the style of the hair, how it is like that, and the beard itself. I think the beard looks like a great job and how it flows in. But then he also has like these little slits in here. I forget if these were from necessarily when he got. I think it was when he got his hair cut from Stan Lee. They're just like buzz marks or they're scars. Either one of them. I'm not gonna pretend I know exactly for sure, but these are oversights that aren't as accurate and detailed in the Hot Toys one. These are very evident here, just to give you more character. Like even like I said, these little nuances just to the character. It just elevates it. And once again, this is one that I'm just really excited about that I would consider having rooted in my collection. I just think the work is just absolutely phenomenal. Now, that being said, I gave you 5 figures in my collection, and I'll link the description to this work. But there is one other figure, if I was to say, as kind of a consolation, like a sixth figure that I would do, and that would be it would be Wonder Woman. Now, why Wonder Woman? Because I've said this multiple times in my video, is that the Wonder Woman figure presented from Hot Toys, although it's fantastic in terms of it being wool rooted, I don't think that it actually represents Gal Gadot necessarily in terms of her hair. Something like this here actually does represent her a lot more. If you look at a photo of Gal Gadot from Wonder Woman, any of the Wonder Womans, even Justice League, BVS, her hair is definitely more accurate to this of how it flows. And in terms of, and like I said, Hot Toys did a really great job of capturing the wool rooted. But the thing is that in terms of does it actually look like Wonder Woman herself in the way that her hair is? No, I don't think so. Her hair is much more flowing. It has a lot more curls to it, things like that. And so I think that the custom rooted does capture that a lot more than the way that the Hot Toys does. And what I want to do is pull up I'll pull up a photograph, as you can see here. This is what this is an example of pulling up photos online of her, but you can see here how her hair flows like this. It's not captured by the Hot Toys version whatsoever. You see how voluptuous, how thick it is, the way it flows. I think that the custom artist actually gets it done a lot better. And I'll switch back real fast, and I think that they nailed this 100%. And so I'm actually open to having another Wonder Woman rooted. I love the character, and I would either have the 1984 version done or I'd have the Golden Armor version done. I'd be leaning towards the 1984 because I do love the vibrancy of the colors of that outfit. I do like the sculpted hair on that. However, I think it being rooted would be so much better. The reason why I wouldn't go with the Golden Armor version is because I have her currently displayed in my collection with the helmet on. And I do like that version better. Here's a video that looks like it's done with the 84. And you see the vibrancy in the colors, and that just is Gal Gadot to me, so much more than the Hot Toys WB 100. Although that's so great, that's great in its own way. It doesn't capture the individual likeness of the character when it comes to the hair and how it really is. And so this is this is what I'm leaning towards. I wouldn't get it done right away. I would get one or two other figures that are more on my priority list, but this is one that I would very, very, very much consider having done, only because I'm that invested in the character. But that being said, guys, I really do appreciate it. Once again, if you could drop a like on this video if you like the content, and make sure to subscribe to the channel if this is your first time. And I want to hear from you guys. Drop a comment below and let me know in the event. It kind of take away from the whole idea of the pros and cons of rooted. But let's just say if you were to get a figure rooted in your collection, what would it be? I named you 5 plus a 6th, but drop a comment below and let me know. Take money out of the equation. Let's just have some fun with it. Let's not get too into the aspects of it. Or if you were to have something rooted in your personal collection, let me know in the comments what it would be. I'd love to find out, because there's stuff that I'm not even thinking about out there that might look fantastic rooted. And once again, I'll drop a link to this Instagram artist's description, in the video description, so you guys can take a look at the work there. But like I said, I thank you for the support. Once again, drop a like on the video, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.